Hi, I'm Megan Price, and welcome to the NBA Carousel, a Sideline Sports Network production proudly sponsored by Score No Score app, available for download in Apple and Google Play Store. Also sponsored by Manscaped, and check out the Inscriber magazine where you can get all your culture, technology, and sports news provided by Sideline Sports. But let's go ahead and jump straight into the show. We have Jordan Long covering the Phoenix Suns.
Hey, Megan.
Hey, Jordan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Talk to me about the Suns. What's going on with you guys?
Well, we haven't had Booker for the last couple of games. He was out with health and safety protocols. I'm not sure if it's COVID related, but I'm going to assume so. But on Wednesday, didn't matter. We beat the Portland Trailblazers 120-90. Actually, what actually helped us was Cameron Johnson, who came off the bench with 20 points, 55 points from the Suns bench. I mean, you can't get any better than that. People are stepping up without Devin Booker, and of course, we know that Chris Paul has been out.
Absolutely. So let's start with the game with the Clippers, where you guys came off a win this past Tuesday.
You know, we beat the Clippers. We know that it was going to be a tough game against them just because of their shooters, but Clippers always seem to have our hand, but we ended up winning that game. We know we could probably face them in the playoffs. So the fact of the matter is we beat them, and we just have to keep rolling.
Absolutely. Sorry about that, Jordan. That was something on my schedule that was wrong. Talk to me about the Trailblazers game.
Well, you look at it, we drummed them 120-90, and basically it was the bench that pulled us through. 55 points from the Suns bench. We actually shot 50% and hit 14 threes. Portland shot 38.5%. So our defense came through for us.
Absolutely. And moving to the next game this past week, you guys played the Knicks on Friday.
That was a very close game, a very interesting game too. I mean, we were down 113-112. Cameron Payne actually missed a layup with 9.7 seconds, fouled Burks. And Alec Burks is actually a pretty good free throw shooter. He missed two. And we saw against Utah how we didn't take a timeout trying to win that game last Sunday. This time, no timeout, no problem. Cameron Johnson hit the three. We won 115-114. Bridges had 20 points. Cameron Payne, 17. Crowder, 14, 8 and 8. Sham at 6. But again, the bench without Devin Booker has been the reason. We had 50 points and 38 from Cameron Johnson.
Absolutely huge night for Cam Johnson. And then finishing out your week yesterday, you guys played the Bucks.
Yeah, it was a pretty close game, at least until the fourth quarter. And then if you look in the fourth quarter, our defense just let us down. We could not stop Chris Middleton, who actually ended up with 44 points in that game. But if you look in the fourth quarter, 41 points given up. You can't do that against a hot shooting team. We did pretty well against Giannis, who had 19 points and 10 rebounds. But Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday was pretty much the reason why they ended up winning that game. Like I just mentioned, Middleton, 44 points, Drew Holiday, 24. But the free throws were the difference. The Bucks were the more aggressive team. They went to the line 29 times and made 23. We only went to the free throw line 11 and made 8 of them. So really, it's the same thing that we saw in the finals. They were the more aggressive team, more physical team. But I just have to wonder if a healthy Devin Booker would have helped, and of course Chris Paul, and I think it would have made a difference, but in this game, not the case.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? You guys are so far ahead on the schedule right now as far as, games out ahead of everybody else. So you definitely have a little bit of cushion, and it's not like you lost to a bad team. You lost to the reigning champs, defending champs. So moving on to the games that you have this week, you will be playing the Magic tomorrow night. You'll be playing the Heat on Wednesday, and then the Raptors on Friday. And then wrapping up your week, Sunday, you guys play the Lakers. Talk to me about these games.
I'm not worried about Orlando. They're one of the worst teams in the NBA. They're last, but you can't overlook them just because we have the Heat the next night. They're still an NBA team. It's a trap game. And if you look at the Heat, this could be a finals preview. I mean, assuming we both get there in the playoffs. But we did play them back on January 6th, and they actually won that game 123-100. We know what they bring. They have Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, Ben Adebayo, Bam Adebayo, and as well as Tyler Hero off the bench. You got to stop these guys from scoring. If you don't, they're going to kill you inside. They're going to kill you outside. And then if you look at Toronto, they're 7th. I'm not sure what to make of them, but they're still a pretty solid basketball game. And then their basketball team. And then Sunday, the Lakers, they're going through growing pains. We know what's going on with Westbrook. Is he going to start? Is he going to come off the bench? Is Frank Vogel going to get fired? Who knows? But the point is they still have LeBron James, and still Russell Westbrook is still one of the better players in the NBA. We're just lucky we're not facing Anthony Davis, too.
I think at this point in the season, we won't see the firing of Vogel. I think that they'll see it out to the end of the season. We really only have 19, 18 games left. So why not finish out the season with him? It's not looking like they're going to make a deep playoff run. So changing leadership at this point in time isn't economical whatsoever. So I bet they finish out the season with Vogel, but and we're facing them tonight. So personally, they do have the capability to win a few games. So you definitely don't want to forget about them. LeBron is still doing, he's playing incredibly well. So definitely don't want to count them out, but they're not exactly the team that we expected.
No, but you still have, like you just mentioned, LeBron James. You still have to guard him. He can take over a game. Right. And like you said with Vogel, I think you're right. They're going to wait until the end of the season. But it just seems like it makes me wonder how these rumors are really affecting him, because he's probably going to get fired at the end of the year. People say they don't, especially coaches and players, they say they don't pay attention to the media. I don't buy that. I think Vogel's hearing it, saying this could be the end of it. But even so, they'll be in the play-in tournament. They could win that. And again, I don't see them going very far other than the first round, possibly.
Absolutely agree. Well, good luck on your games this week, Jordan, and let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Thank you, Megan. You can follow me at Sports Scoop 1. On Twitter. I here on Mondays doing either the Nuggets or mostly the Suns. And you can read my blog that I write Mondays through Fridays with podcasts on Fridays at sports-scoop.com.
Awesome. Thanks, Jordan. We'll see you next week. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and slide over to our next rep. We have Will Vogel covering the Utah Jazz and the Charlotte Hornets this week. Hey, Will.
Hey, Megan.
How are you?
Pretty good. Just watching some ladies hoops because none of the games I have are on TV right now.
Who are the ladies playing?
I'm watching my UConn Huskies play Villanova in the Big East Championship.
Oh, cool. All right, well, let's. Which team do you want to start with?
I'll start with the Jazz.
Okay, cool. Talk to me about what's going on with Utah.
Yeah, we went 2-1 this week we started the week with a win against the Rockets. Mitchell and Gobert had double-doubles. Bogdanovich had 18 points. Conley had 15 points. Clarkson had 14 points off the bench. And the Rockets are a team that's still growing. Jalen Green. Sorry. There's two Greens in the NBA. Christian Wood, Eric Gordon, but that wasn't any issue. The next night, we played the Pelicans, and we lost, which is not a good look, even though they have C.J. McCollum and Brandon Ingram and a few other rotational pieces. But Gobert had a double-double. Mitchell had 14 points. Whiteside had a double-double off the bench. House had 11 points off the bench. Clarkson had 10 points off the bench. But our field goal percentage killed us. We only shot 34.8% from the field and 26.8% from three. So that's what killed us.
Let's move over to the next game, which was the OKC game or the Pelicans?
OKC.
And so you guys were able to come out victorious on that game, and it was yesterday, a Sunday game. The score was 116-103. Talk to me about what happened in that game.
Yeah, it was a great game. Bogdanovich was crazy from three. He was 11 for 18 from three, and he had 35 points. Gobert had a double-double. Mitchell had a double-double, and Clarkson had 20 points off the bench. And We held the Thunder. I know they're not that great of a team, but we still held them to 20% from three.
Right. Well, and they're an interesting team. They have SGA, who's an excellent shooter.
They have Giddey.
Right, and Giddy's won Rookie of the Month, the Western one 4 months in a row. So
Yes.
he's definitely somebody that's exciting to watch. And while I doubt that he wins Rookie of the Year, he's probably in the conversation. Definitely.
Oh, for sure. And they're getting better. They're going to get better eventually.
Completely agree. Let's talk about the games that you guys will be facing this week. Today, you will be playing the Mavericks. Wednesday, the Trailblazers. Friday, the Spurs. Saturday, the Kings. And then Monday, the Bucks. So 5-game week, super packed.
Yeah, the only two that really concern me are the Mavericks because Luka Doncic and Spencer Dinwiddie, but I still think we end up winning that game because we've got more pieces. We got Bogdanovich, we got Conley, we got Clarkson, we got Gobert, we got Mitchell. Blazers, I'm not worried about right now. Spurs,
Right.
They're a good team, but I think we'll win that game. Kings, I'm not worried about. The only one I'm really, really concerned is that I think it's going to be a really close game is the Bucks because it'll be interesting. Mitchell against Middleton, Bogdanovich against Giannis, Gobert against Ibaka, possibly.
Right.
Like, that will be a very, very interesting game. So that's the only one I'm worried about this week.
The only thing about the Spurs that I could say is that it's a home game for San Antonio. So
yes,
sometimes
so that
makes
could be a
difference.
trap game.
Right. But as far as matchups, definitely Utah has the better team. So let's slide over to the Hornets real quick. You guys have picked back up after a little bit of a losing streak, and you guys have turned it around. Let's start with the Wednesday game where you guys played the Cavaliers and came out big, 119-98.
Yes, but before then, on March 1st, we signed Isaiah Thomas to a 10-day contract.
Right.
So that
awesome.
was awesome. Yeah, we beat a really good Cavs team. Rozier had 29 points. Bridges had 15 points. Washington had 12. Oubre had 19 points off the bench. Harrell had 11 points off the bench. Isaiah Thomas in his Hornets debut had 10 points off the bench. We shot 72.7% from the free throw line, and we shot 50.6% from the field. So a good win against a really good young and upcoming Cavs team.
Absolutely. And then so the next game, guys played us. Close game. It was this past Saturday, 123-117. You guys came out victorious against the San Antonio Spurs. Talk to me about that game.
Yeah, I was watching that game on TV. It gave us a little bit. You guys gave us a little bit of a scare, but yeah, great game by the Spurs. They played really well. I thought we were going to win by more, but again, great game to the Spurs. They played great. Rozier had 31, Ball had 24, Washington had 15, Martin had 12, Oubre had 12, Harrell had 15. But it was good to see Ball playing good again because in the Cleveland game, he did not show up. He had like 4 fouls early, so it was good to see him put away the negative and focus on next game up and not worry about dwelling on the past game.
Absolutely agree. And on the other side of things, we had Keldon Johnson for the Spurs, who had 33 points.
Yes.
DeJounte Murray had 25. Devin Vassell had 14. And then our rookie, Josh Primo, had 10. And he also had 6 rebounds with that. So good game. Very exciting game. Back and forth.
Game. Yep.
Coming up this week, you guys are going to play the Nets tomorrow. Then you have the Celtics on Wednesday, the Pelicans on Friday, and then finishing out your week Monday, you play OKC.
Yeah, the Nets is going to be tough, even though, it's going to be interesting because you got KD, you got Aldridge, you got Kyrie. So I think that'll be a close game, but it's going to be tough. Celtics, who knows? We always fight. We're always back and forth with the Celtics because you never know who's going to win that game because they're even. In my eyes, they're even teams. They always flip back and forth who's going to win that game. Plus, Tatum went off the other night, so Tatum's probably riding a hot streak. Pelicans is an interesting one. I think we'll pull through even though they have Ingram and McCollum. I think we'll pull through. And then OKC, I'm not really worried about. So the main two games I'm concerned about are the Nets and the Celtics. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for covering both teams for us tonight. We'll let everyone know where they can find you and follow you, and good luck on your games.
So you guys can find me here on Monday nights on the NBA Carousel, either covering the Utah Jazz or Charlotte Hornets, or maybe both. Thursday, the Sip-Off. And then Sunday, it debuted last night. It was called the Old School Hoops Show, but now it's under a new name called the Basket Bros with Dom DeRubis, Jay Nelson, and Jacob Christner.
Awesome. Congratulations on your new show. I got to check it out for a while last night. I enjoyed it. And we will see you back on here next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Will. All right, guys, we're going to go to our next rep, who is actually our current producer. We have Jen Lewis covering the Boston Celtics. Hey, Jen.
Hey, Megan. What's going on, ma'am?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'm actually really pumped. You know what came out about 3 hours ago?
What's that?
Who the Eastern Conference Player of the Week was.
Oh,
guess who it is?
Tatum.
Hold on, I just lost my audio for some reason. Okay. Don't know what's going on.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Maybe it's your headphones.
Okay. Yeah, my headphones died. It was nice for them to give me a warning they were going to.
Oh, no. So Jason Tatum, I can imagine, was the Eastern Conference Player of the Week.
Yes, ma'am, and I think deservedly so. I'm really impressed with him. He's now tied Larry Bird at age 24 for the 50 plus points in a Celtics game. So
Four.
I think it was 3. Is it 4?
Oh, 3. I thought it was 4. I thought they were tied at 4 games, but I could be wrong. But
I could be wrong. Maybe 4.
Okay.
I didn't put down how many, but that's still pretty cool. And took Larry a little bit longer to do that, but it was a totally different genre. No disrespect at all to Larry Bird, but I'm really pumped up. And I don't know if you remember, but at the beginning of the season, I said I think we're going to start out really slow, really tough because we've got a brand new coach. We're learning the ways. And I said I thought we would come back in and at least make it to the play-in tournament. I think that's where we're going. And I caught it just saying, woo, go green. So I'm excited for where we're going. Since January, we've been on such a massive hot streak. And I'm sorry, I'm just taking over. Interrupt me whenever you want.
Fine. You're fine.
I'm just so impressed by what these guys are doing. And they've taken the time to really play together as a team and really help Jason reach the calibers that he's reaching, because he's not going to reach it on his own. And then like yesterday, like let's not, forget Al Horford, because he's a consummate professional as well. He had 30 points too. So there ain't no shame in that game. Williams had 37. Marcus Smart had 35. So did Jaylen Brown. I know White.
Those are the minutes.
Oh, sorry, you're right. I was like, wait, what? What?
Extremely high scoring game. On the points, Horford had 13, but I thought he's a much bigger presence with you guys than I expected him to be. I thought he was on his way out of the league. Like I thought he was in, probably his last season. We didn't see him a lot over there with OKC. But he's definitely fit in with you guys, and especially since you let Tristan Thompson go. I was not impressed with how Tristan fit with y'all's team. I thought he didn't fit at all, actually. And Horford coming back to the team he's played for before, so it was kind of a homecoming for him, and I really enjoy what he's doing with you guys.
I've always really liked him a lot. I don't want to say he doesn't get the respect but I feel like he's that strong silent player that's really loud in the locker room that really works on unifying the team. And
Right.
I think that's important. And I think that there's, adulation all around and respect for Ume. And I think that's where we are. I think there's some people that maybe didn't get along with Brad Stevens, and we saw them to play last year. And I think, we're looking good.
Absolutely. So the games that you have, the games you have this week, you guys are going to, like Will was saying, you face the Hornets on Wednesday. Then you play the Pistons on Friday, and then the Mavericks on Sunday. So which game do you think is going to be the toughest game this week?
I have to emulate Will because obviously I'm in Uptown Charlotte. Let's go Bus City. Let's go Celtics. So
Right.
I'll be happy either way. I think Will will only be happy one way, but that's why we're buddies. And
Right.
but I'm kind of more concerned about the Pistons because they really did hand it to Charlotte. And I feel like the Pistons are at the point where that annoying point where they're going to play to their caliber at this point when they want to, because they have the talent, they have the youth, they have it, and it's bringing it all together. So when they want to win, they can win.
Okay.
And
I know Jahan said more concerned about the Pistons. So it said trap games do exist, and we know the last time that you guys matched up with them, y'all lost. So
Exactly.
I understand that concern there. Like maybe maybe they have y'all figured out. You just never know. Sometimes they just have that figured out. They play the Lakers really well, also, which is just so surprising. This year and last year, they played the Lakers really well. Like they may not win very many games, but they were beating the Lakers.
Right, exactly. They want surprise games. And that's
Absolutely.
the main reason why I'm concerned, because the Hornets, it's a toss-up. Like
Right.
It's who's gonna play to win harder. So
Right. You guys have played the exchange on players on several different trades. So, Terry Rozier is a former Celtic, and then Hayward as well as a former Celtic. And then you guys sent Kemba Walker that way. So you guys, like I said, you guys have exchanged players for a while. So this is always an interesting game on the schedule. But good luck on your games this week, Jen, and let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you.
So you can find me on the NBA Carousel with Megan on occasion, and probably this Thursday night too, if it's okay, the step off.
Of course.
Also, this Thursday night, we're doing a really cool NFL Carousel, so everybody check in. And then you guys will see me again later on this evening at the very end of the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jen, and we will see you shortly.
Bye.
All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and slide over to our next rep. We have Chris, Couch Coach Powell, covering the Clippers. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Megan, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
So, yeah, I know you can't complain. You guys swept the Lakers for your second season in a row. How does that feel?
Great. I mean, we're not coined the king of LA, but hey, we can kind of take that on a little bit. But we haven't. Last time they lost them was in 2020. So, and that was in a bubble. So does that technically count? So
Right.
yeah.
Well, there's several people that don't. I hear all the time that the bubble doesn't technically count, but when they talk about it, they talk about the validity in the Lakers championship.
Exactly. But yeah, it's a great feeling, especially considering this rivalry. Especially,
Right.
I think that this definitely can help this year. Obviously, how the Clippers are now 8th. The Lakers, it's like they're going to be pretty much in that collision course for that playing game. So it could be a situation where we will have a home game per se.
Right.
If you can say that.
Right. Very soon, you guys will have your own arena, and you will actually have home games when playing the Lakers. So I know you guys are ready for that. But starting off your week, you guys played the Rockets and came out victorious. Let me see, 113-100. What was your impression of that game?
Another solid performance. Zubac, he did his thing. 22. Another, Reggie Jackson at 17. It was just another solid win where we talk about it all year. Pretty much, we got guys that step up, game in and game out. Reggie's the constant. He always comes out to play, but you always get those pleasant surprises here and there where you got guys who will lead you. You have one night Zubac does his thing, and one of the Morris twins, he does his thing one day, and that's just how it is this year, especially losing, obviously with no PG, Norman Powell or Kawhi. So, those guys, they're not a part of the lineup. So it's always a pleasant surprise when these guys step up.
And then following, like we were talking about, your matchup with the Lakers, you came out victorious 132-111. Talk to me about that game.
Loved it. It's another one of those games where people look at that, that Lakers, that mystique, you're the little brother, you're the JV team, you're the ninth grade squad in LA, and and have that type of ability to win, and and it's just once again, it is credit to this season where, especially when you look at people who say, oh well, the Lakers don't have AD and all these excuses. But like I said earlier, we haven't had our best players for the bulk of the season. So, but you got a guy in LeBron James who's averaging almost 30 points a game at 37 years old, and he can barely carry this team. And so you get those type of wins. Those are great. Those are great wins, and it just helps. It's even though it's a rivalry, but it's kind of not. But in the sense of when you're looked at as that second class team and you play and you share the same building, those games you get up for. So another great win, and that was a nationally televised game is there where so it's always the lights are bright, and we took care of business, and just another, like I said, great performance. Reggie Jackson poured in 36 that night. Zubac had 19. We had Robert Covington come off the bench. He had 12. Just very, very solid performance, and hey, I guess we could say we're the Kings of LA for this season per se, but yeah.
And then just to do it without two of your stars, like that just definitely shows that one, that I think that your coach has turned a corner in his career, can be considered a real head coach. I've been impressed with him not only this season but last season as well. The way he coached through Kawhi's injury and still got to the next series. So I've been impressed with him. Now, rounding out y'all's week, you guys ended up taking a tough loss to the New York Knicks, 116-93. Talk to me about this game.
This is one of those games I think you just take on the chin. Obviously, the Knicks had a heartbreaking loss on Friday. Losing to Phoenix in that kind of fashion, and they were coming in with a 7-game losing streak. So then we came in with a 5-game win streak, and that's just one of those things where the game was a crossroads game where, and you just look at the Knicks from the standpoint, they pretty much had this at their mercy at the beginning. I mean, that second quarter was tremendous. RJ Barrett, he came out to play, and then it seemed like every time the Clippers was kind of coming back, and it feel like the Knicks was just getting a run, especially they had a big run in the third and entering the fourth. So, that was like kind of much the just the deal, how, crawling back, but then the Knicks just nailed that final hammer and set the tone from the jump. So yeah, it's
and like three of their bench, two of their bench guys, Quickly and Reddish, both had pretty big nights too. Quickly had 21 and 10, and then Reddish had 17 and 2, which we haven't seen him do a lot of production over there with the Knicks because he's just not a defense guy on a defensive team. So when we see those sightings and Cam Reddish is playing well, I get a little excited. I just hope he lives up to the potential. But coming up this week, you guys play the Warriors tomorrow. Wednesday, you play the Wizards. Friday, you play the Hawks. And then Sunday, you play the Pistons. Talk to me about, obviously, we know which team is going to be the toughest. What do you think is going to happen in that with Golden State? Even though they've been on a losing streak lately, it's been tough. So what do you think you guys need to do in order to make that a win for you guys?
I think we just have to stay solid. Watch out for those big runs with Golden State. We talked about the Knicks. You got, if you, just maintain, get on runs, get ahead of them. And I think that's going to be the biggest key for Golden State. Like you said, they are a team that has been struggling as of late. So this kind of maybe we'll kind of, get them at that tail end as far as with them struggling and what have you. But this is an interesting week. It's a lot this is a tough week where we're going out east. Even though you look at, Atlanta, Detroit, not that bad, but but Cleveland is next Monday too. So it's kind of one of the things where it's kind of that Detroit game kind of scares me. I know that people will say, I forgot it was.
Jen said it could be a trap game.
Because that's a back-to-back. So I know, next month, so that Sunday could be an interesting game. Atlanta, I think, could posed as a potential game as well. But I'm really that Golden State is kind of key. But the Wizards.
Justin said the Wizards
gonna be tough, and that's luckily that's a home game for us, and that's that's another thing too when you're like that last home game before you go on the road, that could be somewhat of an interesting game as well. But something about that, I don't know. It's weird. That Detroit game is kind of one of those things where it could literally be like a trap game. So that's going to be kind of the one that's like, don't count your win before.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Don't put that in the W column just yet. Cade has been impressing over there. So definitely. Now they're not a good team, don't get me wrong, but they have their moments and they have their, they have the particular moments. But good luck on your games this week, Chris. Let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Absolutely. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check out the podcast anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, we're there. And also check out our YouTube page, Couch Coach Live.
Thank you so much, Chris. We'll see you the next time you're available. All right. Guys, we're going to slide over to our next rep. We have Jay Nelson covering the Houston Rockets. Hey, Jay.
Yes, sir. What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Doing good. Settle back here. I cook dinner and get all settled up at work and stuff, so you know how that goes.
Yeah, definitely. So you guys are coming off a win. That's huge. And not just any win. You beat the Grizzlies, like an extremely hot team in the NBA right now. Talk to me about that game.
Now, I've said it for weeks and weeks, and I just want everybody to know what happens when the Rockets actually play 4 quarters. This is the result that's going to happen more often than not. This was a big win. It's not necessarily a season-defining win because, it's a 16th win.
Right.
Kind of, seeing what we have as far as next season, but a great win versus a potential playoff team nonetheless. We won 123-112. Wood had 28 and 13. KPJ led all scores with 29 and had 29 and 5, and Green had 24. It was the first time all season that 3 starters had 24 or more points. Then he had Matthews off the bench with 10. So pretty much wasn't that much that came from the bench because the starters were so high. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Just so happened that was enough to win the game. But absolutely, John Morant was held to 22 points. It was just all Rockets, and not to mention the Rockets had a 10-point deficit at the half. So
oh, wow. So they fought back.
Right, and I know a 10-point lead isn't anything in the league, but it's the Rockets we talk.
I mean, but you beat them by 11 points, so you know what I mean. That's a 22 run right there. So that is something to speak of, and it's against a hot team. You guys are playing the Heat right now. It's pretty close, 57-54. Wednesday you'll be playing the Lakers. Friday you'll be playing the Mavericks, and then Sunday you'll finish out your week playing the Pelicans. Out of those, which do you think is going to be the toughest game?
Toughest game, I can foresee it being Dallas because it's the Texas
right, yeah.
I mean,
people that don't live in Texas don't quite understand the rivalry between the 3 NBA teams. Like, it's fierce.
Exactly, the 3 teams that are here. The Pelicans will be tough. It's just the Mavericks. You rise up for your rivals. So I expect a good game. Mm-hmm. I'm going to predict a Rockets W versus the Lakers right now.
Very cool. I'm hoping the Spurs get a W against the Lakers right now as we speak.
and this is coming from a LeBron fan, but of course I'm team first. And because of the shape that the Lakers are in, is why the Rockets are going to win the game. Provided that we play all 4 quarters, if we play the same game that we played against Memphis, we will not lose to the Lakers. We won't.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on your win and good luck on your games this week. Let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
All right. NBA Carousel, Monday nights, hosted by Megan Price, produced by Jennifer Matthews Lewis. Thanks a lot. I see you out there. Also, the Sip Off, either I'm on the panel or I'm your favorite heckler's favorite heckler. That's on Thursday nights at 8:15 Center Time. And also the Gauntlet that's hosted by myself, Dom DeRubis, James Tatum, and Tyler Ingram. That's Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, and we just did the first show last night, Basket Bros, aka the old school hoop show. The new name is Basket Bros, but it's hosted by myself, Dom DeRubis, Will Vogel, and Jacob Christner. It's Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What we do is we take basketball and we go retro with it. Now, yesterday we did a pilot episode and we just kind of danced around experimenting with topics and whatnot. So out there, feel free to let us know what you would like to see us keep as topics or even some suggestions. We keep an open mind. Also,
Y'all have to touch on that comment where T-Mac said he should have won an MVP over Tim Duncan in 2003. Y'all have to touch on that because I will lose my mind.
Absolutely. And I watch this. So yeah, absolutely. We will definitely touch on it. Marshall Davis, I see you out there. UK3 for life. For Horsemen. See you next week.
Thanks, Jay. We'll see you next week. All right, guys, we're going to slide over to our next rep. We have Joseph Jenkins covering the Washington Wizards.
Before we do anything, Couch Coach, don't you overlook the Wizards ever again. That's all I'm going to say.
A mess.
Take it away, the hostess with the mostest.
Awesome. Well, talk to me about what's going on with Washington. I know you guys had a win against the Pacers yesterday, but let's start at the beginning of the week with your Pistons game. You guys came out with a W, 116-113, and that's a little bit of a closer game than you would kind of expect, but as we've been talking about, the Pistons have improved some.
Yes, I kind of expected it to be a closer game because I knew how our defense was still not 100% there, and I kind of been following the Pistons, and I know how they have been playing. Nonetheless, it was a great win. Another pretty much close to triple-double for Kyle Kuzma. KCP's contributions have been awesome. Neto and Hachimura. But the biggest thing for the Wizards is three-point shooting. Three-point shooting, they have been over 40% every game for the last 5 or 6 games. And then I believe in that game, we were at like 48% or 46%, one of the two. That's kind of been the biggest difference for the Wizards since the trade deadline, to be honest with you. And so it was a big win. We needed that one.
Absolutely. And then you guys played the Hawks this past Friday. And it's another close game, but you guys ended up taking the L 117-114. Talk to me about what happened in that game.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was a game we could have won because we played as good as we could against anybody. And we had a couple calls that didn't go our way, but for the most part, the team is playing well. Like I don't have any issues with the team and how they're losing these games compared to how it was before. Because before, if the team got down by like 8 or 9 points, and then the next dagger 3, you know how during sequences a 3 would come and it turned it from 9 points to like 12 points down. Right. Back then, the team would have just folded. But this team fights. This team battles hard. And it was a tough loss. It was a loss that we very well, in my opinion, should have won. We could have won that game.
I mean, anytime it's a 3-point game, yeah, you absolutely could have won it. They had DeAndre Hunter, who had a big night with 26. Trae Young had 25. And then they had 2 other players that had decent numbers. That Bogdanovich had 17, and then Capella had 12, and Gallinari had 10. So a very well spread out point wise. Like there was no just
Another
big
effective
standout.
shooting day for the Red Hot Wizards as well. Over 45, I believe over 45% as well.
Wow. Yeah, that is really good. And then to y'all's win yesterday, you guys played the Pacers and you came out victorious 133 to 123. Talk to me about that game.
Kristaps' debut. Kristaps
Right.
Porzingis' debut. And I have to say, I do understand like why the moves were made as much, because he's going to give us the spacing that we were hoping Thomas Bryant would have been able to give us, even though particularly I didn't think Thomas Bryant was that guy, but that's just me. It was a good game for him. Of course, you guys know I do like to look at lines for people and stuff, but I didn't really know what to make of him. But I will say once again, over 40% 3-point shooting. And what was happening is, as the Pacers were making a comeback, as they were trying to keep the game close, because I have a ton of respect for Tyrese Halliburton, Malcolm Brogdon, Buddy Hield. Kristaps would make that necessary 3 that we need. He made 3 threes that kept the game out of reach for them. And then everybody's game is just 10 times better. Kyle Kuzma had a great game. KCP had a great game. Hachimura didn't have the best game, but he was on point. Everybody's starting to make their games a lot better now. Ball movement is just going, and it's just amazing. The ball movement the team has is it's something that I hadn't seen since early in the season. But then as each game goes on, I'm really starting to see that it wasn't necessarily the players. It was the players and their play. It was really just the attitudes of certain people. Like, I'm glad Trez is gone. I'm glad that Aaron Holiday is gone, because those guys were ones that were demanding more minutes. They were demanding issues, creating issues and stuff. Like, I actually like to the point, if Kristaps can stay healthy throughout the rest of this season, I have no problem letting Beal walk. I have honestly no problem letting Beal walk, because I think that $245 million we can use to sign someone like Jalen Brunson or people like that, based off of what I saw against the Indiana Pacers yesterday.
Right, yeah. And Brunson would be a huge pickup. He's having a huge year in Dallas right now.
He might even be on the market. He's a good guy that I would take.
I think he does leave Cleveland. I think they're gonna go their way with Karis LeVert and Garland as their guards.
And they got C.D. Osman on the backside too as a backup guy too, and Brandon Wiggins. So I like what I see from Kristaps. It was a good game. He made it through.
He seems like he's happy to be back on the East Coast. And that when a player's happy, the first time we talked about how happy Kuz seems. That makes a huge difference. When you enjoy showing up to work and you enjoy where you're at, it's going to make a difference. So, maybe Dallas was just not the spot for him. And, hopefully this leads to success with you guys. So your games coming up this week, you play the Clippers, like Chris said, on Wednesday. Friday, you play the Lakers. Saturday, you play the Trailblazers. And then Monday, you finish out your week playing the Warriors. So what game sticks out to you, whether it's a trap game or the toughest game?
Honestly, I think all of them. I think the LA trip is big, because I think, number one, we feel like we should have beat the Clippers after losing. We have the biggest blown lead this year against the Clippers, which was 35 points. So I think we should win that game. But we don't talk about the fact that Kuzma and KCP are returning to LA. They're going back to LA this year. And I honestly think, with the way this team has been playing, I look for a very good game between those guys. And I think we can swing that LA trip. And I think we can go, 3-0 this week, honestly. I think this team, as long as the ball movement is there, because even in losses weren't games that I didn't think we couldn't win. These are definitely games I think we could win. And you remember last week I was talking about Cleveland. We almost beat Cleveland, and I didn't think we could win that game. And it turns out the ball, I like where this team is going. I actually don't want to tank, and people are talking about it. I just want to continue to see where we are. I think we can build on this. So I'm looking forward to really the LA trip, because I think those are 2 games, because I think they're one's Wednesday, one's Friday. I know Kuzma and KCP, they definitely want it. I know they definitely want it.
Definitely. Oh, yeah. They definitely want a little vindication. going back to LA because they're having a year of improvement and it's not going that way in LA. So
Kuzma
good
numbers
luck
are
on your
like, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
Kuzma's numbers are like they were before LeBron had got there. In fact, he's up to 17 points a game now, and he jumped up from 17 when he was at 13 about 2 months ago. He's given 20 plus a game pretty much every game now.
Awesome. Love to hear it. Well, good luck on your games this week, and let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Yes, consistency is everything, and we are over here at the NBA Carousel, your Wizards representative, loving everything about them. I am going to be available to be on the Gauntlet on Saturday. I'm definitely going to work on to be able to get onto the sip-off because it's been a couple weeks since I've been on, but I will definitely do my best to make sure I can be there. But it's pretty much all of those particular shows. And then tomorrow, myself, Jay Nelson, and James Tatum, we're doing a Ravens preview for the NFL as like a separate one-off that is going to be tomorrow as well. So it'll be debuting on YouTube and Facebook and things like that. So you want to check that out. But I'm here with you guys. I'm happy to be here. So excited. I'm happy to be.
Thank you so much, Joseph. And we will see you back next week.
All right, guys. See y'all later now.
All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and slide over to our next representative. We have Steve Shawanda covering the Golden State Warriors. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Megan. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Almost made it through an entire Monday, so we're still here. So
right, yeah. Mondays can be tough. They're my days off. They're my days off, but they're never really days off.
Oh, you never have days off when you're an adult, unfortunately.
Right. Yes.
Hey, we got about 10 minutes till tip off until the Nuggets play what's left of the Warriors, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So
right. Okay, so starting off your week, you guys played the Timberwolves and actually took the L that night, 129-114. Talk to me about what happened in that game.
Well, really, it's been the same. Well, really, for all 3 games last week, you gave up over 120 points in each loss.
Right.
And with Draymond Green not there still, he's hopefully supposed to be back between 7 and 10 days. It was reported yesterday. So hopefully he'll get back in the next week or so. And hopefully by next week I'll be saying good news about him coming back because he's needed. People who don't understand basketball like to mock Draymond because he's not going to score 20 points and even have 12 rebounds or 15 rebounds. But where you really see it is on the defensive end. He doesn't stop talking. And sometimes it might be annoying to other players and to fans.
That's the point, though.
But he also talks well communicating on defense, and communication solves a lot of problems. At least that's what my ex-wife told me. So it just. But on defense, in all seriousness, on defense it's extremely important to talk communication. Right. How you're going to defend pick and roll? Are you going to switch? Are you going to hedge? Are you going to double? All these things are extremely important. And he is a longer, bigger body. That's somebody to throw at him. Like again, we'll talk about the Laker game in a second. But when you have LeBron going off, throwing somebody on, and Iguodala was still out. Porter isn't 100%. So you just would. And that's the thing is when they're full, they have a whole bunch of long, lanky wings that they can throw at people. Because obviously Steph is not the greatest defender in the world. Clay has been known for his defense, but he's still not 100% yet. I think is probably.
I was about to say I wouldn't want him going 100% on the defensive end of things at this moment. Right,
you're not going to put him on your best offensive wing player like you might have 3 years ago. So yeah, missing Draymond is so important for the communication, for the defensive switches, for all those things. And that's the thing is when they have a lineup, I mean, their killer lineup, right? When they can go Draymond, Iguodala, Wiggins, Clay, and Steph, let's just say, you have 3.5 to 4 guys who are long and can switch everything, so it just gives you a lot of flexibility. So their defense has been horrible. Clay has struggled shooting some games. Steph has, struggled shooting some games. Those shots, sometimes they're going to fall, sometimes they're not. Those two obviously are two of the best shooters of all time. Obviously, Steph's the greatest shooter of all time. So you want them to keep shooting those shots. But it's on the defensive end, especially to Minnesota. You can't give up 120. Like Cat's good. I like Russell, all that. Edwards is fun to watch, all that stuff. But you can't give up over 120 points to Minnesota. You just can't. And
Right.
that's the thing. They gave up over 120 in their last 3 games. They've lost 4 in a row. They're 2-8 in their last 10. And right after that, they were just 11-2 in the 13 games before that. So,
Right.
see how big this Draymond Green injury has been. With these last 10 games going 2-8. I mean, the good news is they're still technically right now, though they're tied technically with Memphis, but right now they have the tie break, and they're only 2.5 up with the Jazz for 4. And they have a huge week, which tonight they're playing at Denver with Steph, Clay, and who are resting. Obviously, Drake's still out, White out, Iguodala's out, Peyton the second, or as I like to call him, the mitten, the glove son, the mitten, he's out. JTA and Odor Porter were both questionable with non-COVID related illnesses. So tonight's basically going to be Jordan Poole and Kuminga against a team that is red hot. They are on the second half of back-to-back. It was a very exciting overtime win last night, and shout out to Joker for a huge game for helping me win my parlay. Right. I appreciate it. And my boy Monte Morris, thank you, much love. But the Warriors have Denver tonight and Thursday, both in Denver, with a home game against the Clippers tomorrow night thrown in. So I'm assuming their thought is, hey, Clippers at home tomorrow night without the Clippers' 2 best players is probably still a better shot to win than getting the Nuggets on a second half to a back-to-back. So they're resting all their guys, tonight, even though it's on NBA TV. So I'm sure NBA TV is not pleased about that. Semi-nationally televised game on NBA TV. So sorry. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. But most importantly thing, obviously, they just need to get healthy. And Draymond needs to come back because it's just defensively. That's the thing is they always say defense always travels, right? Sometimes your shots don't fall. You can always defend. You can go 0 for 12 and still defend. So, that's the stuff. And I'm sure Steve Kerr, that's probably what drives him crazy too, is that's all you. You can control that. So they got better defensively, not giving up second chance points. Obviously the Lakers game, you let LeBron go for 56, but he went 6 for 11 from 3. Let's just be honest. He doesn't do that a lot. So but usually when he does that, it's because the first couple were wide open looks. So if you give him wide open looks, those first couple, then he's in a rhythm. Now the basket looks bigger to him, and now he's shooting with a lot more confidence. If you make him work for the first couple, now that's when he has those, 2 for 12 shooting nights from 3, not 6 from 11. So, I don't take too much into that, except that the Lakers just got killed by the Clippers, and then they come back and beat the Warriors.
They did.
But it is what it is. But
it's a weird season, and it's at the end. It's at the end of the season, and so like you were talking about, guys resting tonight. This is the back end of the season. We're going to see this. You guys are going to be prepping for playoffs no matter what. And I've been saying this for about 3 weeks now. It's concerning that we haven't seen Draymond. Yeah. This started out as an injury that, we kept hearing week to week, oh, we'll see him soon. We'll see him soon. And it just, 3 months later, we haven't seen Draymond.
Yeah. I mean, it hasn't been quite as bad as Wiseman, which has been the worst one about, oh, he's almost ready. Oh, he's almost ready. Oh, no, there's something else happened. Oh, now he's almost ready. Oh, something else happened. I mean, he at least, Wiseman, he practiced with the G League team a little bit, did some scrimmages. He's cleared for 5-on-5. Coach Kerr said yesterday it's basically just about him getting reps and all that stuff. And make no mistake, I mean, James Wiseman is not Akeem Olajuwon. It's not like he's going to come and be the be all end all, but just to get more size, shot blocker, protect the rim, rebound, run the floor, catch a couple of lobs on the pick and roll that Steph throws up to you if they double Steph, and he can just kind of throw it up and Wiseman can dunk it. But really, because if you get 4 to 6 points from him and 3 to 6 rebounds and maybe a block shot, like he's doing his job. I mean, I'm not expecting, nobody should be expecting 20 and 10 from the kid. He's still like 19.
Yeah, I was about to say this is only his second season.
Yeah, he's not the answer by any stretch of the imagination, but it just would be nice if at least maybe 2 weeks before the end of the season, the Warriors could have 2 weeks of a healthy Draymond, Wiseman, Looney, Iguodala, Peyton, Wiggins, Steph, Clay, Jordan Poole.
Right.
And there you go. And I didn't even mention Kuminga, who's been playing great, Otto Porter, JTA. So again, they still have enough, obviously, to contend. And that's why, like I said, I don't get up and down for each individual game because, like you said, and this is that kind of time of the season where if you're in the playoffs, you're kind of like, all right, let's just.
I mean, as long as you're not in the play-in tournament, I guess I wouldn't worry about it because I consider you guys as good a team as Phoenix.
I think as long as they stay in the top 4, like you want to at least still have home court in that first series.
Right. I get that.
But as long as they don't fall past 4, which I think they'll stay right. Or truthfully, I think they'll stay 2 or 3. But it's still a little concerning. But yeah, like, would I care that much if they have home court against the Suns or not in the Western Conference Finals? Let's just say if that happened, because obviously they have Chris Paul out, and
right.
they just played a game without Booker too, and Ayton had a huge game, and Miles or Crowder went off, and so
right, he did.
Other people step up, and that's what people have to do. I mean, Jordan Poole had 23 against the Lakers. Kuminga had 18. Steph had 30. But Clay was 3 for 13 from the field. So you got to have those other guys step up. But all in all, this is a really important week for them. Denver twice, then the Clippers, and then we didn't even talk about Saturday primetime against the Bucks at home on ABC.
Right, yeah.
So if you go, truthfully, if they can somehow go 2-2 in these 4 games,
right.
if they win their home game, and then lose the 2 games at Denver, though I think the better would be to somehow steal a Thursday game at Denver. So beat the Clippers tomorrow, and win Thursday in Denver, and then lose tonight to Denver where they're not playing anybody, and then probably lose at home to the Bucks, because I think overall right now the Bucks are better. But it is in Golden State, so who knows? But it seems those national televised games on ABC on Saturday, it's a really big stage for them to kind of show up a little bit. And they just had one against the Lakers, and they didn't show up and lost. So hopefully
right.
be a little bit better this week.
Well, good luck on your games this week, Steve, and let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's that time of year, so it's time to get serious, right? So every Monday on the NBA Carousel with the one, the only hostess with the mostest, Megan Price, and talking Golden State and any other team that she ever needs me to talk about. Sometimes the Nets, but they're kind of, besides Durant now he's back and being Durant, everybody else is kind of struggling. So there's not really much to talk about right now. So it's still Golden State right now. Easy way to find me on Twitter, All Eyes on You, just the letter U, all Eyes on You Hoops. Find me on Twitter and talk to me there, and we'll talk some hoops.
Thank you so much, Steve. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. You too. All right, guys. We're going to slide over to our next rep. We have Cool McCain covering the Milwaukee Bucks and the Denver Nuggets. Hey, Cool. How are you?
I'm feeling really good this week.
I know you are. I know you are.
6-1 between my 2 teams this week. So good week.
So which team do you want to start with?
Let's start off with the Nuggets. I just wanted to let Steve know, first of all, I'm hoping that they're 1-3 this week. 2 losses to the Nuggets and a loss to the Bucks would be great. So let's make that happen.
Right. Both of your teams in 1 week. So let's talk. Let's see. You guys are coming off a really great week. You played the Thunder on Wednesday.
Terrible game. Denver, you have to be better than that. That was disappointing.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I was not happy about that game.
No, you're good. You're good. Denver ended up losing 107-119, and then you guys played the Rockets this past Friday. Came out victorious, 116-101. And then yesterday, you guys had an overtime game against the Pelicans. Super exciting game. And you won 138-130. So which game do you want to touch on?
Oh, I'd love to just talk about what Nikola Jokic did in the fourth quarter and overtime last night, scoring 30 of his 46 points in that time frame. And I actually did see this, but Will Vogel also kind of shot me a little message about this. Basically, 91% was his field goal percentage, which has been the best all time in that situation. He's bested Kobe, who had a game where he shot 85% from the field, and Ray Allen had a game where he shot 77%. So Jokic, the guy that no one wants to talk about for MVP, putting up 30 points in the fourth quarter in overtime, shooting 91%. That's a guy who should be in the conversation. That's all I'm going to say about
Absolutely.
that. But really great game overall. Forbes did his thing, making big shots. He's really become an important piece to Denver. They're able to use him and put him in situations where, he's played admirable defense, right? But we both know he's not a defensive guy. But he's at least out there giving it a shot. And he's been making big shots, so he's definitely carved himself out of role. Monte Morris plays really well most games. It comes back to between him and Will Barton. One of those guys normally have a great game for us. I also want to shout out DeMarcus Cousins on his monster game. I know you're like that. Yeah, 34 points in the start he had. So against the Rockets. So good job for him coming in and being ready and being able to, turn back the clock for a game and give us a big performance that we definitely needed in that game. Definitely needed that.
And you said that was a game that he started in, correct?
Yes, he started in that game. Yeah. So that was a great opportunity for him. I'm happy he was able to come out, and it just kind of justifies what we both agreed upon, was that he was definitely the guy that we really needed to come in that game and and be our backup center, and be a guy that we can put in to play big business if needed. So very happy for him for that. Jokic actually didn't play in that game and we still won. So that was very big for us. Very excited about that. And Denver looks to be doing really well. They look to be kind of climbing a little bit. And I've heard some people come on here and other places as well and talk about injuries. I just want to remind everybody, our top two scorers have not played. One has not played all season. And our, I'll say two of our top three scorers. And the other one played about 5-10 games, back issue, nerve issue. So, we've been doing what we've been doing, and it's not great, but we're in sixth place, and we're actually only 2.5 games back of fourth place right now in the West. So, Denver's they're getting there. We're hearing some rumblings about Murray and MPJ. You hear one week that they're going to the G League, the next week they're not. One week they're about ready to return, the next day they're not. The coach says they're not, but maybe so, but maybe not. So I don't know, a lot of subterfuge. But basically, hopefully we can get them back before the end of the season, at least with about 10, 15 games would be great to give them a chance to kind of get in NBA shape and get out there, because we definitely need those guys to at least be able to contribute in small bunches to help us try to get where we want to be, and that's deep in the playoffs.
Awesome. So your games coming up this week, you got Golden State tonight, like you were talking about. Then you have the Kings on Wednesday. Thursday, you have the Golden State one more time. And then Saturday, you have the Raptors, who are a real interesting team. They started out really, really rough and fought their way into the number 7 seed. I think they're still number 7. From like the 14 seed is where they started. They are number 7. And so definitely a team that has some steam. I think that you have to watch out for Gary Trent Jr. He's had several games this season where he's had really big games. So that's somebody that you would want to lock down in that particular game.
Yeah, I think when you look at the games that concern me the most, is the Toronto game and then the second game against Golden State. Those would be the two games that, are going to concern me the most. I feel like Golden State is basically giving us a bunny tonight. Hopefully we don't blow it. But, that's the thing. If we can be 3-1 or 4-0 this week, that would be amazing for Denver. 3-1 sounds more realistic, but hey, I'll take 4-0 as well. It's just a matter of got to keep pushing, got to keep playing. Everybody's got to contribute. Those 2 or 3 extra shots that you make, the extra times we have a guy like Highland or a guy like Compa maybe get 15 or 20. Those are important. Those are very needed right now. Points are at a premium for Denver.
Absolutely. And especially when you talk about 4-0, and you said you're 2.5 games behind the number 4 seed. So, it could shake up any time between you guys, the Mavericks, and then Utah. So easily, if you have a week where you go 4-0, you could easily move up to the number 4 seed. So good luck in your games on that team. Let's slide over to the reigning champs, the Bucks.
Reigning and defending champions. They played like it. They played like it finally for an entire week. And then they even did it. Shout out to Chris Middleton, 44 points, monster game yesterday. Shout out for that.
Yes.
Yeah, I was very happy to see him have one of those games because you get a lot of people that they start talking about him and they're like, oh, well, he's all right. He was an all-star, but he's really not all that. He's just like the second guy. There are games where you get this Chris Middleton. The thing is, you don't need this from him all the time. But when he's doing that, that allows Giannis, who had a bad game, he only had 19 points, got in foul trouble, but it allows him to be able to say, hey, I can do other things now and allow Chris to, to get it on when he's getting on. Drew Holiday's had solid games this week as well. It's been a team effort. Giannis has had his normal couple of monster games, but it's been a team effort. And it took everybody, doing what they need to do to help this team get to where they are right now. So very happy with their performance for the week. I mean, you can't get better than 4-0.
Absolutely. Now you mentioned yesterday's game where you guys beat the Suns, the best team in basketball right now. But Friday, you guys also beat the Chicago Bulls. Talk to me about that game.
That was a good game. That was one of those games where it really could have went in the way. It took 34 for Giannis, 22 for Middleton, 12 for Portis, and 26 from Holiday, as well as some other contributions to get that win. But the Chicago gave us everything we could handle. DeRozan, 29 points. Vucevic, I always say that wrong, at 19. Yep. And then Zach LaVine poured in 30 as well. So they had guys that kind of matched us points for point. But in the end, we were able to do more in the fourth. It really came down to the fourth quarter. And we were just able to pull away from them, come back and pull away from them in the fourth. We only won by 6, but we scored 37 in the fourth to their 24. So we kind of clamped down a little bit on defense finally, started making some shots, got a little bit more intelligent in shot selection. One thing about Milwaukee, they do this a lot of games. Sometimes they don't do it enough to hurt them. Sometimes they do, is they sometimes fall in love with the three and play what I call the new school basketball, where they drive all the way in and then kick it back out to a guy that he misses the three and there's nobody there to rebound. So they did a better job in the fourth quarter of kind of clamping down and saying, let's take the shots that they're there, let's rebound, and, let's not take bad shots. And I think that's what turned the game around for them. Because after 3, I was kind of like, but they were able to pull it out. And then I think they carried that momentum, into the game against Phoenix. And obviously Phoenix didn't have some of their pieces, but guess what? It is what it is. You got to play.
A win's a win.
Taking them all.
Absolutely. So this week you guys play OKC tomorrow, then you play Atlanta on Wednesday, Golden State on Saturday, and then the Jazz on Monday. So which game are you more worried about, Golden State or the Jazz?
I was thinking about this. I'm actually going to say Golden State slightly, just because it being a primetime game and they're going to want to come out. And I'm anticipating them already losing, 2 of the previous 3 games. So I think they're going to be motivated and doing their best to play. I think with them, the question always is the health, right? Because they're kind of in one of those situations like we're talking about with Denver and several other teams, including Phoenix, where you have people that are in and out of the lineup due to injury or just rest, or, you want to make sure guys are ready for that stretch run and get into the playoffs. But Utah could be dangerous. They're kind of been slumping a little bit as well, but they could be dangerous as well. I kind of rank them as like 1A Golden State, 1B Utah. Then, of course, if Golden State doesn't have a lot of their guys, as they don't have now, they may switch. But those are definitely the 2 games. You got to win one of those 2 games if you're Milwaukee. Whichever one is available to you to win. Love to win both, but you have to at least win one of those games because you can't allow yourself to fall back. Milwaukee's climbing up. They're back in 3rd place now, but it's tenuous hold on 3rd place to be nice. So they're not there by far. They're only about a half a game behind Chicago. Ahead of Chicago to fall back to 4th. They're tied with the 76ers, but the 76ers have 1 less loss, so they're still in 2nd for now. But as far as the actual games back, they're both 3 games back of Miami. So this is very important week for both of these teams, Milwaukee and Denver. You got to buckle down. You got to find a way to win games, even some that even guys like us that cover it may not expect you to win. You've got to get some wins. It's time to climb, and it's time to make it happen.
Absolutely, and especially when you have teams like, the Brooklyn Nets who if we're looking at maybe they will have Kyrie for the entirety of the playoffs, then the situation with the mandate might change in New York City. So if you are the 2 seed and you're facing the 8 seed, on the tip off, we talked about playoff seeding and possibilities with that. What that can mean to you guys if you have to face them in the first round of the playoffs. They are dangerous when they have both Kyrie and KD. Now, I don't think they're as stacked as you guys, but we'll see. And good luck on your games this week. Let everybody know where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Absolutely. Well, as you can see below, at Real Play Callers on Twitter. You can also follow me personally on Twitter at Cool McCain. And then, of course, on Instagram at Cool_McCain or at Play Callers Sports Talk Show.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cool. And we will see you back next week. All right, guys, for the last segment of the show, we're going to have Jen and Jacob Christner.
Well,
hello.
Dan, how's it going?
Hi, how are you, Jacob?
Not bad at all. I was just looking. See, I was getting a little concerned about Steve Schwander earlier. I thought he was too young to know what AOL dial-up was.
He was probably like 10.
yeah, either way though. But you heard about Calvin Ridley today, right?
Yes, that's crazy.
You heard about the red flag, don't you?
Yeah,
he picked James Harden to win a ring as part of the parlay, and that was it. They caught everything. It was like, goodbye.
Are you serious? That's what busted him?
No.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm gullible. Don't mess with me.
No, it's just another James Harden joke.
Well, do you want to tell us a little bit about your Kings, and then we'll move to our announcement, or do you want to do our announcement, then go to the Kings?
Yeah, no. We'll get the we'll do our announcement first. Why not? Because I want us on the windows right now to show that you have got my new co-host for the Pundits Pundit.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, I had figured I tried it 2 different times before, and I was terrible at segue. And so she is awesome. She is our awesome producer of this show. So I asked her to be with mine, and then she's also going to help. She's also helping with us and with a producer for Basket Bros on Sunday night.
Woohoo! It's happening, people. It's happening.
Oh, yeah. So we're having a lot of fun on this. It's like the biggest deal I'm really enjoying this now is because we're starting to get some kind of leeway. We're starting to get some kind of momentum.
Yes. I appreciate that a lot, too. Like everything, all the groundwork that like Megan and J.B., Eric Wilson, Alex, everybody that John Shearer, the Gauntlet crew, everything that they've all done, it's all coming to fruition. And we really thank you all for your hard work. And Alex, I thank you every day in my prayers and my thoughts.
Absolutely. Alex started this all. You know what I'm saying? He had this whole thing.
Sir.
I wish I would have really gotten to know him more. It's sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, great guy.
Absolutely.
Like, honestly.
I bet. The biggest thing I was going to bring up with the Kings is I found out one little detail.
What's that?
The detail about them is a lot of people were happy when DeMontis made the Kings, when he basically got his trade. They were happy if they'd be better. They are 364 winning percentage with him and without him.
Really?
364, both sides, So literally it makes the biggest thing
makes no difference.
Well, makes no difference, but one of the biggest things was they are playing better together. But the biggest problem is they still have a horrible defense. They're next to last behind Houston in defense. I mean, that's like 115 points a game.
Well, do you think that they're going to be really focusing on D in the draft?
It just depends who the coach is. It's like I am kind of torn. I'm kind of torn to with the idea of a guy like Gentry.
Mm-hmm.
Torn with it because I don't know how ready they are. Like I want a real star coach when a team's ready. Don't get that wrong. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want a star coach when they're ready, but when there's a team that's not quite ready, I like the teacher.
Yeah.
Like in Houston for the football, Lovie Smith, I love it. He is a teacher.
Well, I mean, it's Lovie Smith. How can you not?
Oh,
Lovie's awesome.
Yep. I like see, I've been a coach. I've been a volunteer coach before. I've been a teacher, tutor, mentor, all that stuff. I like teaching. And there's, they say that one of the biggest things about it is the fact that sometimes you're not going to always have the winningest team. Sometimes you're not going to have the players. But if you have a teacher, it makes all the difference in the world. You don't, because in the end, you're not going to have, Spoelstra or Phil Jackson or everything go for the Kings. You're not going to have that. So you need somebody, that slowly builds them up.
Well, Phil Jackson's also still like in talks with the Lakers on a daily basis. Yeah. That was a report that came out today. I don't know if you saw it or not, but he's talking to Bussy every day. So,
well, I'll tell you this: bringing the problem with that is like if something. If that was, here's the deal: if it's really true and everything like that, it's been forever since he's coached. It is really a comparison, and of course they would probably win more. But I mean, once again, this is kind of the whole idea of what people think of LeBron James trying to get every advantage in the world. Mm-hmm. If this was true, this is him trying to get every advantage. I was like, you get Phil Jackson. Problem is, Phil Jackson, I don't know if he could do a Tony La Russa and be out a few years and come back. And I was shocked when Tony La Russa did it because I did a pundit point that he wouldn't. And I was wrong.
Right. Don't you love it when you have to eat your own words?
I
grow from it. Like when, I mistake my minutes for points scored in a game, just saying that never happens.
Right. I mean, I always say this thing, it's not being cocky. It's like, I don't make that many predictions, so I'm not wrong too often. But when I'm wrong, I'll admit it. I expected Tony La Russa to fail because they were trying to beat Dusty Baker, but they both succeeded. So I mean, people can be wrong. It just happens,
Yeah, it does. Happens a lot. Well, let's bring Miss Megan back on. Start telling everybody where they can find you. And I'm excited about our announcement.
Oh, yeah. Well, Sunday nights.
Sorry, I saw you getting that water, Megan.
It's water. Yeah.
Sip off. It's water.
I got my off. It's coffee.
I'm removing myself.
Okay. All right, Jacob. Let everybody know where they can find you and follow you.
Oh, it is the Sunday night Basket Bros. Will.
Love it.
We call it Basket Bros now, not the old school basketball show. It's Will, Jay, and Dom. We got that on Sunday nights. Jen and I are still figuring out a time, but there's just a reasoning for it. But we're gonna have the pundit really soon. I'm here Sunday nights, and I've still got all of my writings on Substack and on. I got my Substack and other places, and Inscriber obviously. I've been published, so it's like I'm pretty busy right now.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your up and coming show and the show that you just started. I got a chance to watch part of it last night. And I did mention to Jay earlier that if there was a topic that y'all wanted to touch on T-Mac saying that he should have got the MVP over Tim Duncan in 2003. Mm-hmm. I would love to chime in on that topic.
Absolutely. Well, let's see if we can get some guests on. Well, we are going to try to get like guests from like old basketball years and stuff like that. But it's also the sideline people in too, so we should all be able to talk.
Absolutely. Just let me know. And thank you so much for coming on, Jacob. We will see you back the next time you're available.
Take care.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. Just a quick reminder that the NBA Carousel is a Sideline Sports Network production, proudly sponsored by Score No Score app, and then also sponsored by Manscaped. And check out the Inscriber online magazine where you can get all of your culture, technology, and sports news provided by Sideline Sports. Thanks, y'all.